December of 2013, I had the opportunity to experience the Florida Everglades in ways I never imagined I would. What I originally thought of as just a check mark off my bucket list turned into so much more, and that's why I wanted to share it with all of you. What initially attracted me to the Everglades was the incredibly unique and diverse ecosystem, more specifically the herpetofauna, and even more specifically the invasive herpetofauna. This is a Mediterranean house gecko, which we often found at night by the bathrooms in the park. But it turns out there are some pretty cool native species too. This is an eastern diamondback rattlesnake, which we found under a tree right off of Gumbo Limbo Trail. Eastern diamondbacks are the largest species of rattlesnake in the US, but this guy was only a few feet long. While we were in the Everglades, we divided into groups and worked on many research projects. My group decided to research thermoregulation in brown anoles, an invasive anole species native to Cuba. We captured anoles and took temperature readings, snout vent and tail lengths, and gram weights. Anoles are fast, and the easiest way to get them to hold still was to let them just latch onto your finger, which was super adorable because you knew they were trying their hardest to hurt you. You could feel them clenching their jaws as tight as possible, but they just couldn't. We visited the trail at the Shark Valley Visitor Center, where alligators are so used to people that they bask right on shore right next to the trail. We found some baby alligators, and this mama alligator was basking on shore nearby, so I took a selfie with her. I also learned how to conduct ethograms, where you basically sit and observe one animal for an extended period of time. This is my friend Henry. I watched him bask for an hour. All I could record was him blinking, but how many people can say that they've chilled out with an alligator? Our permits and contacts to the National Park Office allowed us to do so many things that most people don't get the chance to experience. This is a picture of our group slogging through the salt marsh grasses to get to the cypress dome that's off in the distance. Compared to the salt marshes, the inside of the cypress dome seemed like a whole new, enchanting world. As we waded through the water up the dome, which was sometimes waist deep, we were completely immersed in the sounds of nature, and the calls of birds and the chirps of insects. At night, we went road cruising on Main Park Road, which, despite being winding, narrow, and surrounded by protected endangered species, has a speed limit of 55. During one of these cruises, we found this scarlet king snake. Even our campground was filled with wildlife. We found jumping spiders, orb weavers, and this little guy, a green tree frog, who was sitting on our picnic table after we returned to camp one day. I picked him up and put him on my sleeve, and he just chilled out for about an hour. Another great place to see wildlife was the Flamingo Visitor Center and Marina, which was just a short walk from our campground. It turned out to be a great place to see birds, alligators, crocodiles, and some very photogenic manatees, who like to come right up to the dock and check us out. Of course, what I looked forward to the most during our trip was python hunting. We might love Burmese pythons like Bertha here at Truman, but they're causing a lot of problems in the Everglades. We spent a day python hunting the almost abandoned Chiquita campgrounds with a guide, but didn't find anything. This is the group that I camped with for 2 weeks. They were all absolutely amazing to work with, even when we were fighting freezing rain, mosquitoes, wet shoes, and poisonwood. Each one offered something unique to the group, and I feel really lucky that we experienced this together. I took this picture of our campground as we left the Everglades for good. I thought about my experience there, the fascinating animals and the cold, rainy nights, the gorgeous views and the swarms of mosquitoes. The good made the bad worth it, and I'd do it all over again in a heartbeat.